Hello, this video is for homework 4 on how to graph your favorability and unfavorability. So I want to show you where I'm working from. I'm working from these notes, and I'm going to go through step by step what I'm doing here in this graphing favorability, and you can follow along with me and pause the video as you need to. So I'm going to show you the database that I'm working in. Okay. So here I have my data set where I have done all the counting and I've created all of the favorable, unfavorable, and neutral categories for each of my competencies. And so this next step wants me to create a chart in Excel, and you can do that first. Or you can do the second step first, it doesn't matter, but I'll show you my here's my Excel. So I've just created this competency, unfavorable, neutral, and favorable. And then I've also made a column for the N here. And then this is going to be the chart that I use to actually make my graph, but this is sort of my working chart. So the idea is that I'm going to copy numbers from SPSS into this chart because this is the easiest way to do it. So back to my data set. I'm going to go to Analyze, Descriptives, And what I've done here is I've pulled over not the counts, but the comp favorability and the benefits favorability, unfavorability, and neutral. And in options here, I've unclicked the mean and I've clicked the sum. You can leave it variable list. That's going to be easiest for you to work with for this chart, and everything else you want blank. So I unclicked all this other stuff just to make it a bit clearer and less confusing. So I'm gonna hit OK. Here it is. It's giving me my N and my sum of the counts for favorability, unfavorability, and neutral. And we're going to create percents out of this. So what I did is I took these numbers right here, and let me do a new share back to Excel. Not sure that is showing the screen I want to show. Okay, so this should be showing my Excel screen. So what I've done here is I have just typed in these numbers, and I have made a column for the N here, and this is going to help me create these percentages. And these percentages are created by dividing each number by the total count and then multiplied by 100. So let me show you how I do that. So I'm going to do, I'm only doing 2 here, but you want to do all of them, and then you can just drag down and you only have to do the formulas once. So here, I'm going to put the equal sign, and oh, sorry, that's actually, no, that's the competency name. So here I'm going to put the equal sign and pull over the competency name rather than retyping it. For unfavorable, I'm going to click here and get unfavorable. And I just want to point out, it occurs to me, I could have done this. I could have just copied this table. And I could have put it in like that. And then I could have pulled over. These are out of order, and for me, I just wanted to hand type it in, but you could, if you didn't want to type each of them in and you had a pattern, you could also pull over. Now, one of the things here is that, and you're not going to get counted off for it, but I do think it looks better to have unfavorable, neutral, and then favorable, because we're kind of going from worst to greatest. And I think visually it helps the reader. And I think this is typically what you would see on survey data. So I'm putting it this way. If you don't have it this way for your homework, don't worry. You can do that for your case study. Okay. So actually, sorry. Here, I'm going to do the equal sign. I'm going to click over my unfavorable. I'm going to put the division sign, click the N. So I'm dividing it by its total count number. Then I'm going to put in a star for multiply and 100. And there we go. I've just transformed it to a percent. Now I'm going to do the same thing for neutral. Select the neutral number, divide it by the N, and multiply it by 100. I'm going to do the same thing here with favorable. Select the favorable number, divide it by the N, and multiply by 100. Now, the difference here, you can see here, this does not add up to 100, right? So we know we're not doing percents. But if I were to check, whoops, put my equal sign in there. If I were to check these numbers, they're going to perfectly add up to 100. And so I know that that's right. You don't need that for your chart. I'm just showing you the difference. Now, what I want to do here, instead of typing all of those again, now that you've learned all your fancy tricks in Excel, I can just come here and pull down. And it's going to do it for benefits for me automatically. And then I'm going to click this over. And, you know, if I did the whole thing, I could probably pull down the names too. So that's going to give you your chart or the numbers you need to make this graph. Okay, so now I'm going to graph this. And what you want to do is you want to first, let me just make sure I'm still sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm going to select all of this here. And when you fill in the rest of the competencies, you would select the rest of them too. And then I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to come here to Bar Chart. Now, the cool thing is I can just put my cursor over and see this kind, which is called clustered, this kind, which is stacked, and this kind, which forces it out to 100%. And you can choose anything that you think that looks good. I'm going to go with 100% stacked column here. And I'm also, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to delete, whoops, delete the chart title because you're not going to need that. I'm going to switch row and column. I just clicked this button right here. And so that made this go by, it's showing it by the competency. So that's, you don't have to do it. This is just something I like to do. I also think you can do it to the side, you know, having the bars come from the side. There's no right or wrong way. It's what you think is visually appealing. So just kind of showing you what I did again there. Here, it was showing you this, and I don't think that's very readable. So I would recommend just switching this row and column. Now I'm going to right click on a column, and I'm going to add data labels. Now, one thing I'm noticing here is my data is, you know, it's a bunch of decimals, and that's not great. And typically in APA, we have one or none. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select all of these, right click, format cells, and I'm going to click number and 1 decimal place, right? And you can do none, 1, or 2 for this assignment. Again, whichever you think is best. And if you did one way for your homework and you're like, well, I think it looks best this other way, then you can do that for the case study. Okay. So here is your chart. It would have more competencies when you are doing all of them together. Okay, and if you want to do it from the side, again, you can do this several different ways till you pick what you like. You just go back to insert, bar chart, and you come down here to the 2D. So again, you can do it that side by side, clustered, and then to 100%. And again, switch the row column data, and there you are. Also, take out the chart title because you'll be writing it in a Word document, which is APA style. Again, so I'm going to right click on these, add data labels, and you would just do that with everything. So you can change the colors, you can do whatever you like to make this graph look good for you. So that is the end of my video. Thanks for watching.